Okay, lesson 3, I want to talk to you a little bit about chord progressions. A lot of guitar players learn to play a whole bunch of songs and they never really think about the chord progressions themselves and how they would relate them to another musician. A lot of times when more advanced players are talking with each other, we're talking about the Roman numerals, the 1, 4, 5 kind of thing, all right? You may know a little bit about that. Let me help you understand a little bit better, all right? And also let me help you understand that there are some very common chord progressions. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm just going to go through a few here. But there's just a bunch of progressions that have been used over and over and over, literally for hundreds of years. I mean, the guys that were, the kings of classical music, Bach and Beethoven and all those guys, their music can be analyzed into 1, 4, and 5 and 1, 6, 2, 5, just like the music of Led Zeppelin, okay? And so you want to understand this stuff, all right? It will help you to become a better player. We talked a few weeks ago about chord scales, and so that's where our numbers come from. Hopefully you dealt with that lesson, you dug into it and understood it, all right? So I want to do something here. I want to take a 1, 4, 5 chord progression in a couple different keys, all right? I'm going to start with a 1, 4, 5 chord progression in G, all right? And to begin with, I'm going to start using caged chords, all right? So the G would be our 1 chord, the C would be the 4 chord, the D would be the 5 chord, all right? Okay? I could play that same chord progression using bar chords, of course. G, C, D, G. It's a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. Doesn't matter which chords I'm using, as far as whether I'm using caged chords or bar chords. It's a 1, 4, 5 in G. All right? But now let me explain to you that if I change key, I'm going to change to the key of C. I'm still going to play a 1, 4, 5. The chords that are 1, 4, 5 in the key of C are different than in G, but there's an element of the sound that remains the same. Okay? Listen. C is our 1 chord, F is our 4 chord, G is our 5 chord. So, okay? I can do the same thing with bar chords. A C bar chord, an F bar chord, a G bar chord. Okay? Doesn't matter what key you go to. You want to know what the 1 and the 4 and the 5 are. 1, 4, and 5 are the chords that are in almost every single song, even if there are other chords. All right? You need to know the 1, 4, 5 of every key you play in. If you're in the key of D, what are the 1, 4, 5 in the key of D? If you're in the key of B flat, what are the 1, 4, 5 in the key of B flat? That's like one of the primary things you want to learn and know as soon as you start to learn a song, as soon as you're playing a song, is what key it is and what chords are in it, and almost every song is going to have a 1, 4, and 5. All right? It's very important to understand that. All right, let's take it a little bit further. Let's go to another common chord progression. I'm going to go to 1, 6, 2, 5. I'm going to start in G. G is my 1 chord. E minor is my 6 chord. A minor, the 2 chord. D, the 5 chord. So, okay. I can do this with bar chords. Okay? It's still a 1, 6, 2, 5 in G. All right? Also, I could change the style, I could change the rhythm. Okay? Okay? That sounds a little bit more modern. The original one sounded kind of 60s. Right? 60s. That sounds at least 80s, doesn't it? All right? You understand that it doesn't matter what style you're playing or what rhythm pattern you're playing, you still need to know the chord progression from its numerical standpoint, the Roman numerals. Let's do a 1, 6, 2, 5 in C, just for you to think about that. My 1 chord is C, the 6 chord is A minor, The 2 chord is D minor, and the 5 chord is G. Okay? Now here, if I play it with these caged chords, it's going to sound very 60s. But I can turn around. I'm going to crank up the gain a little bit. I'm going to turn around and play this with bar chords. And that could have been a Green Day song. In fact, there's a bunch of Green Day songs that use that chord progression. All right? So again, it doesn't matter if you're talking about modern music, classic rock, country, blues. Every single song can be analyzed into these kind of Roman numerals, and it's very, very helpful for you to understand some of these common progressions. There are entire books and courses out there on chord progressions. In fact, I've written a few things about chord progressions and many examples and lessons about chord progressions. And so you want to dig into this, you want to understand it. Go back to the lesson I gave you about chord scales a couple weeks ago and think about that some more. And with each song you learn, analyze it from the chord scale point of view. All right? It'll really help you grow. You'll start seeing the similarities between one song and another, and all of a sudden, playing that song will just become so much easier. All right? Have fun with that.